Hello again. I wonder if anybody remembers the fuss made in the British press in December 2012 when Olympic gold medalist Mo Farah revealed that he had been stopped at American customs and questioned as though he were a terrorist. Racism or what? All because he was black and been born in Somalia. Of course, we now know that the Americans were quite right to be a little suspicious of him. He was, after all, travelling under a false name on a passport which had been obtained by fraudulent means. Enough to make any customs officer ask a few questions. I dare say that most viewers will be aware by now that Mo Farah, the lovable athlete who represented this country in two lots of Olympic Games, is not who he has always claimed to be. Put bluntly, he is an illegal immigrant, although nobody really wants to say this out loud. For many years he's trotted out a pack of lies relating to his family background, and it appears that even his name is false. What the implications are for his citizenship, I have no idea. I expect some people will now claim that I'm being hard-hearted and cruel, because after all, this all began when he was a child and trafficked to Britain as part of some modern slavery racket, forced into domestic servitude. But wait, have we any reason to believe that this story is any more true than the one he has been telling for so long? After all, he's had his autobiography published in this country, in which he could easily have told everybody about this supposed modern slavery. He did not. Instead, he related a long and untruthful account about his father living and studying in Britain. Why would he do this? Children's books have been published with the same apparently false account in them. After having maintained this series of elaborate lies for many years, we are now expected to take his word for a completely new version of his life story. I, for one, will wait a little and see what else comes to light. What does seem certain is that Mo Farah, or Hussein Abdi Kahin, to give him what he now says is his true name, acquired British citizenship in 2000 under false pretences, using a fake identity. It also looks as though his passport must have been obtained using that same identity. All this, remember, was in adulthood, long after he was a vulnerable child. What do viewers think this man's motive was in maintaining this fictitious account of his life for so long, and even writing books in which he described an imaginary childhood and family background? Were he not a world-famous athlete, and have been knighted to the bargain, I think that people would now be asking some serious questions about what looked, on the face of it, like a series of frauds. Here's another point to consider. I have no idea what this man's attachment is to Britain. Having obtained British citizenship in a, well, shall we say, dubious and questionable way, he represented Britain at the 2012 Olympic Games, where he won the hearts of many people by his lovable ways. Of course, we should treat him just like any other British person who has won those medals. Only racists would raise their eyes at the idea that this man is not as British as the rest of us, simply because he is black. And yet, where do viewers suppose he was living when he entered the Olympic Games under a false name as a representative of Britain? Well, he had actually been living in the United States for a year at that time. What about when he entered the 2016 Olympic Games, again as a British athlete? Still living in America. In fact, he had moved to the United States in 2011 and lived there continuously until 2017. So, born in Somalia in 1983, came to Britain in 1992, acquired citizenship under a false name in 2000, and then went off to America with his family and remained there for the next 6 years. In what actual sense was he British when he won all those Olympic medals? I have a very strong suspicion that this is only the beginning of the story and that a lot more is going to be emerging in the coming weeks. I, for one, am very reluctant to take this man's new version of his life story at face value, not until we've seen what else might come to light. On the face of it, to me at least, this looks like a fairly typical tale of illegal immigration, and it will take a good deal to persuade me that this is not what we're looking at here. I'm bound to ask myself too what the implications are for the knighthood he received. Well, we'll have to see what the future brings, I suppose.